We're live. This is Rich Lieberman, the Bay Area Media Pulse, for a Thursday, July the 10th, 2025. And I took a day off. I had to go do some errands and things of that nature, investigate a few things. But I came back and God, God, I put on the radio, and that was a freak show, and not in a very good way either. Hey, first touch of the glasses. Who's monitoring? Everybody is. And I got a few interesting emails from various people telling me that I shouldn't back down and that I should keep at what I'm doing. And then the usual obligatory assholes who think that their time, whether it's in the basement, in a boardroom, in a corporate, well, they would be a boardroom because these people, I think they're more apt for the electric company reruns or something of that nature. But no, I'm not going to back down. As long as I'm here, as long as I'm not being forced off or part of the cancel culture, which is uh, definitely on my heels and all that because they want to censor me and all that. So, uh, look, um, I've said it before, I'll say it again. This area is totally mediocrity central. And here's the thing that surprises me, quite frankly. I thought that the Bay Area, you connoisseurs of all things restaurants and culture and media and all that you would be resistant to all this crap, this dreck, this monotonous modicum of mediocrity that they feed you on a daily basis. I thought that you would be more resistant to that, but apparently you're good with it, at least the majority of you. And I am surprised. Here we are. We're not that cosmopolitan, folks. We're not that wonderful. We deal with certain things. We talk about, speaking of mediocrity and media, all we're talking about again, once again, oh, we have a heat wave, or my favorite, the marine layer. KCBS is very fond of that. It's in their whatever style they have, their word style. You must say marine layer. You can't say fog, the marine layer. And it's never windy outside. It's breezy. It's always breezy. That's KCBS, part of the mediocrity album that we have here on the stupid radio that we do have an abundance of. Folks, there's no weather. When we have heat waves now, which is part of our geography, it's part of our land, it's part of everything that we have. We've been having them for years and years now. Maybe we have a lot more these days because of whatever. I'm not going to get down the climate control crap and all that. I'm not putting crap meaning that there's nothing going on. There is, but I'm not going to go into that specifically. I'm just going to say that we concentrate on weather even when there's no weather. You want to hear about weather, folks? Look at what has happened in central Texas. That was very tragic weather. Or when they have a blizzard in the East Coast, or tornadoes when there's mass destruction, including human destruction. That's when there's weather. Out here, we send reporters into Livermore, ask a fucking roofer on top of a building when it's 117, how's their day going? That's mediocrity. We have no news anchors in the Bay Area. A few, but by and large, zero. Sorry, Dan Ashley, when you were supposedly offended when I said that there was no anchors compared to the anchors that we have had in prior years when we had an esteemed roster of good people. And you were offended that I didn't compare you to Ann Berg or Pete Wilson or even overrated Dennis Richmond, because you're baseless, Dan. You're benign. You're very, let's just say, non-passionate. You're a robot. And part of that could be attributed to the fact that you've been at Channel 7, God bless you, for over 30 years. So, yeah, for longevity, you're a wonderful, wonderful anchor, but you don't have the gumption and the news acumen of a Tom Sinkovitz or a Bob Melrose or a Peter Cleveland or a Harv Morgan or a Dave McElhatton. Are you kidding me? And that's just the simple truth. I'm not alone. And if I am, and there's going to be people out there that are going to say how wonderful you are, which for longevity you are, but you're not anywhere near those that I mentioned. But you're not alone. At Cron, they haven't figured it out. They probably never will. At Pix, Juliet Goodrich is very solid. Apparently, my sources indicate that she was offended that I dare mention the fact that she would have been a very, very suitable replacement for Nora O'Donnell. Hell, anybody. I would have been a suitable replacement. Well, maybe not so much that. Because, I like Juliet. She's not wonderful or great, but she's really solid. The same thing can be said for people like Rosh Mathai, who is decent, and people like Dion Lim, who I gravitated to and had the audacity to say that she was, when she first came here, but then became more acceptable. Again, mediocrity is the gold standard here in the Bay Area. I would argue too that we're not cosmopolitan. We're not that great of restaurants anymore. There's a few, but it's nowhere near San Francisco. San Francisco is nowhere near a New York, a Chicago. Hell, and boy, will I get people screaming at me for this. I'm sorry, LA has got a much more vast selection of great food. San Francisco, where do you go to get great food? I'm sure you can pick one restaurant out. My point is, it is no longer the restaurant mecca that it used to be. And yes, kick me, Oakland has become the foodie capital of the Bay Area. Hell, look it up. Oakland food capital. And yes, I'm going to defend my hometown for that reason. You don't have to go across the bay and fight for parking and dust and put up with shit that you know what I'm talking about. But that's another story. I'm talking about media here. The Chronicle. What a joke. I'll continue to say it. And little ancillary sites like SF Ist and Mission Local. And my favorite one, the overhyped, glossy, totally style over substance, the SF Standard. Oh, God, does it look beautiful. Folks, let me just say something, okay? This is an online publication that is all 100% flash. There's no pizzazz. There's no investigative reporting. Do they have a city hall report? I'll tell you what, Standard, funded by a billionaire. That's all well and good. Why don't you, while you're spending all this money, Mr. Moritz, if you were serious, why don't you have a reporter at City Hall? Fact is, you don't. If you were that gung-ho about being a legitimate news site, put the money in and get a bureau at City Hall. Cover the city, cover the mayor, cover the police department and the fire department, and talk about all the things taking place, some of which is not very much appreciated. cover KQED, find out SF Standard, where the hell the money is going at mediocre filled KQED, and not just television, but radio too. That's what's called substance, and having the wherewithal to cover the news, including the media. You don't even have a media writer at SF Standard. You have a bunch of flashy graphics and more managers than there are reporters. What is that telling me? It's telling me that the SF Standard, which has made a big splash in getting sports guys and news people, but where the hell are they? What have they uncovered? It's just basically a lot of flash, folks. You know, ask the mayor a few questions. I've never seen a mayor that has become a new voice of San Francisco politics. Yet nobody asked this guy anything. Oh, he's done a few, softball interviews and all of that. Nobody asked him what the hell is going on, where the budget money is going to, why again the failed homeless programs. He's in over his head. Of course he is. Seems like a nice guy. Seems like he wants to try to fix San Francisco, but that's not going to happen anytime soon. A lot of it has to do, obviously, with downtown and the office buildings that are empty and all that because of the pandemic and all those things that are byproducts that are sort of inconvenient. But ask that to the mayor. Does he have a vision for the future? Does he have talking points that are sincere and genuine about the direction of the police department and the fire department and the public works department, and how downtown, forget the fact of the homelessness and drugs and all the shit that's taking place and all the businesses that are leaving. What's he going to do about all of that? Let's be specific, Mayor. Nothing. I've seen a few television interviews, very benign. We don't even have reporters. We used to have great reporters. Rita Williams and Lloyd LaQuesta and people like that, and Hank Plant. And now we have morsels from Fresno who just got off the bus and are doing ice cream. I call them ice cream stories in Walnut Creek, which, by the way, you'll be seeing lots of because it's that time of the year, folks, where they don't have any news. So what do? Oh, it's going to be a heat wave. Let's send reporter Alice to Walnut Creek and look for the biracial couple, the cute couple with the little kids sucking on vanilla and chocolate ice cream. Well, guess what? It's all vanilla coverage. It's despicable. Cosmopolitan San Francisco Bay Area. Yeah, right in the heart of Silicon Valley. Do you ever notice something? Being that we're so near Silicon Valley, they don't send reporters. Speaking of asking legitimate questions, nobody goes to Silicon Valley anymore. You know what I'd like? And this is just off the top of my head. Go in front of that big, massive donut office complex, the computer Pentagon, as I call it, in front of Apple, and ask these people what the hell they're doing. And why the hell is Apple laying off people? What? $1 trillion in profits over the last 5 years? That's not enough. Go in the heart of Silicon Valley and ask questions. Don't just give us periodic updates about how big and vast Nvidia is, how much money they make, and how the fact that they've been valued at $4 trillion every 5 fucking minutes. Go behind the scenes. Enough of this mediocrity and quit being posers. And that's to my point. The other folks who are as pissed off as various critique people like myself would ask and demand for better products, for a better product, and not the shit that they hoist upon you every day. I mentioned the Greyhound crowd from Fresno. Have you seen these reporters that we have? Is it downright sad? No, it's disgusting. And yet you put up with it. And you're going to just sit there and take it by and large. How could you? Because you just do. Because that's what the Bay Area is, San Francisco. My God. I would love to see how Herb Cain would deal with all this today. Not that Herb Cain was such this, wonderful, wonderful person. He wasn't. He was very flawed. Used to make fun of Oakland, the guy that was born in Sacramento. He called himself the Sacramento Kid and all of that. But at least he was clairvoyant. At least he could, yes, write. At least he could keep us entertained. He was like the Jimmy Breslin of San Francisco. Boy, oh boy. And Cain, I'll give him credit. He would be argumentative and critical of various mayors and talk about the ill repute of San Francisco, and not just the Bay Area, but speaking of Sacramento, the governor. At least the Chronicle had some degree of gumption, even if they were a complete and utter joke. But they had people and reporters and coverage and all that. And today, they have that overrated piece of crap named Peter Hartlob, whose idea is to write about shit that nobody gives a damn about and get on various morning radio shows, obscure as they are, and talk about, wonderful people in pop culture. Maybe the Chronicle can be investigated for the abundance of red burrito and purple houses in the Mission and how SF Gate exists with stupid news reporters and idiotic sports editors who write from their living room and couches while eating an alfalfa sandwich with Gouda cheese. Oh my God, this area has become so vanilla, benign, indifferent. You don't want to get involved. You're good with this. You can accept this crap. Yeah, well, I can't accept it. And I'm going to bitch and moan as long as I'm here, unless you put me out of business or unless somebody else does. I'm not going to be more positive simply for the sake of being more positive. I'm going to, tell it like it is in my world. And if you happen to agree with it, great. If you don't, that's great too. I like dissent. Dissent is good. Constructive criticism is an essential part of democracy. Unfortunately, here we have jerks and putzes and schmucks who like to get online and act like they act. I want and appreciate constructive criticism. So tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me that there are some hidden gems out there, whether it's media or restaurants or of that nature. And don't cherry pick. Be real. What I give you here is the truth. My truth. I know I said previous times there's only one truth. Well, I'm giving you the real assessment and not going to talk about shit of no news like weather updates when there's no weather. It drives me crazy. So, yeah, I'm going to be a negative nabob. But that's why I'm here. That's why you come here. And that's why I tell you what I tell you, in addition to breaking a few stories now and then. If you like this, become a member, subscribe to my channel. If you want to be a paid subscriber, come here. It's $15 for the year. You'll get exclusives and insights that nobody else gets. And yes, you will help keep this site independent and not beholden to people that have no business or want you to not know the business that they're in. Thank you for watching. We'll see you later.